1906, passed away in 1982, February. Today, so it made it kind of rough. If you got anything wrong with you, he was pretty much due. Bert George Vance, born in probably 1880s, died in 1964. He was 84 years old. And Emma Sigler Vance, that was my great grandmother. She was born in 1860 or 82. She was born in 1902. She died in 1921. She had what was it they called that, typhus? She drank water, they believe, and got typhoid. And she died very young. She was a fine musician, very beautiful, long blonde hair, skinny. Knew a lot about going to go to college via music. But Grandpa, he was a night hunter, a farmer. And he, as he's grown up, he farmed, night hunted, and trapped. Loved trapping, loved hunting and fishing. But he worked hard on a farm. They didn't have many tractors. They used a lot of horses and stuff, but they did have tractors there. My grandfather, one thing about my great-grandfather, Bert, he brought one of the first Avery tractors in this area, and from down the High River here to Middleport, one of the first tractors in this whole region. He had plenty of money. He knew how to work timber, and he had a lot of knowledge on making money. And he worked in timber and stuff. And actually, when he married Emma, they was ready to lose that farm, and he timbered and married into her, and he saved that farm. And that was quite a feat in itself to pay all the taxes off. But anyhow, my grandfather, Glenn George Vance, he grew up and he took aviation. A good friend of his that he knew, and he died there early in the 60s or something. He's very young when he died, but they talked about going hunting for deer and stuff up in the mountains and stuff. So Grandpa, he was a fine marksman. I mean, he could take a .22 pistol and night hunt with a pistol. Many people use rifles to shoot coons and stuff, but he could shoot a mink between the eyes up in a tree. He'd crawl up in a tree and shoot him right between 5-6 shots. He was an amazing marksman. He loved flying. He took lessons for aviation. His buddy he had an aviation license, and then when the Great War came, of course, he met my grandmother, Cora Adkins. They had 2 sons, Glenn Eugene Vance. He was born at about 37. Then, of course, my father, we'll have a memorial about him, too. He passed away here just in August. But his sons, they helped him on the farm and stuff. And Grandpa, of course, he had a mink farm. And that was quite amazing. He raised raccoons and had a farm. After my grandpa, Bert, died, he had a farm, and it was simply something to raise mink. He had like 1,200 mink at one time, and wild ranch mink. And he made most of the money by selling the pairs off to people, that wanted pairs. So, he'd done that until about the 60s. Then my grandfather, Bert, died, passed away, of course. And, and after that, it goes, we come into the picture, my brothers and me. And Grandpa always saw the world of us boys. And he liked to deer hunt and stuff. And that's why I'm kind of making this memorial kind of him, because he loved hunting. He got me into hunting. Yeah, and he really loved hunting, so, and trapping. I went trapping with him, and he took me hunting and stuff, and introduced me to Jesus Christ and talked about the Lord. He wasn't a church-going man, but my grandfather was one of the nicest guys you ever meet. He taught me how to play guitar. He played in a band over there at WMPO in the probably 30s. But during the war, let's go back to the aviation part. When he was in aviation, when World War II hit in the 40s, my dad and them were little. Grandpa went to enlist because he said he wanted to go over because he had aviation. He really wanted to fight. And when they was ready to enlist him, and they said, "Wait a minute, sir, you're a farmer, but you have a young family and everything. You're the only son Bert Vance, if she would have been alive, it would have been something, but there's no heirs. And plus, you're a living farmer. I mean, He says, we're going to need farmers to help keep the country. And man, I'd love to take you. I'd love to take you, but it'd be a discredit to the country because the country's going to be needing farmers and stuff. And I remember Grandpa showed me some of the war stamps that you had to have stamps to get so much sugar. People got easy living today. People today don't know what work is, don't know what farming is. Society in America has become weak. You know, my grandfather, he used to work all day long. You know, it was nothing to work hard all day and not make that much money. People today are lazy and greedy. You know, it's a bunch of greed and stuff that's taken over people's, it's taken over people's lives. Unfortunately, we live in the age of ease, and it's only going to get worse. So, but my grandfather, he worked hard for a living, very hard for a living. Cat just looking for a deer. Anyhow, after he had the minks, him and my uncle and grandpa, Frank was the guy that had the aviation. After the war, he got into the mink ranching after it was the Depression. My dad, he grew up helping my uncle, and they worked hard on that mink ranch, and plus taking care of several 75 to 100 Hereford and Charolais cattle, and milking them and feeding them every day. Dad said time they got done, my dad told me and Grandpa told me, as soon as they got the mink watered and fed in the morning, they'd have to start over at noon and start. And that's all it was. So my dad and my uncle took turns going up in the mountains of West Virginia and hunting. My grandfather did take a black bear up in the mountains of West Virginia, which was some kind of a, something back in that time. And Grandpa killed the bear. He hit it. It was pretty much dead, but someone claimed it on him. It went around the hill and they shot up in there. My grandfather said there wasn't a buckshot wound in, and he said he seen every shot. He hit it 3 times. In the shoulder, 257's a little too light for a bear, but he had a bear stamp. And Grandpa hit it in the quarter, shoulder, neck. Didn't kill that bear. That bear was tough. And black bear, about a 350-pound bear, but they did give Grandpa and him the liver. The guy knew who Grandpa, the West Virginians believe wherever the deer comes first, that's who owns the deer. I'd say that's bullshit. That's just another way to be a damn trophy-thieving prick. I think it's a damn shame people have absolutely stooped so low in our world. Grandpa was not very disappointed after that in hunting. You kill a lifetime, get a bear, and then some scumbag goes around the hill and claims it and never even killed it. That's how low lives are. People are like that. They think sound shots and stuff like that claim them a deer, when they know damn well the deer was. Grandpa said that bear couldn't even hardly jump over a log. He went around a stupid log. He was bleeding out so bad and so weak, and Grandpa said he went around, couldn't even jump over a little log. He had to walk around it to go. That tells you how bad the bear was. And that guy had seen it fall, probably ran up and shot it in the air and thought, look at me, I killed a bear. These people are disgusting. But Grandpa didn't care much for hunting after that. Then after us boys were born, we started quail hunting and hunting. And Grandpa started taking us squirrel hunting. We got into deer hunting and stuff. Wow, look at there, a whole herd of bears. That's cool. Wow. But yeah, the bears, we was just talking about bears. Now here comes a whole herd of them. Cool. We'll take one if one comes close enough. But Grandpa, he hunted with us. We deer hunted and everything. He was a trapper. He showed me how to trap. I trapped with him for several seasons there. I remember hunting with my dad, but we'll talk about that with my dad's memorial. But we used to go trapping with Dad too when we was real young, like 3 and 4 or 5 years old before school. Dad would take us trapping with Mom, and I'll talk a little bit about that, but we got into trapping very young. But Grandpa was never into collector's trap. But Grandpa, he was into just trapping fur bearers, and he really got into that trapping. Foxes and mink and coon and muskrat. I helped him water trap. We would fox trap in the fall, and you know, we really enjoyed that a whole bunch. And this bear coming here is going to be in the honor of my grandfather when he gets up here. I'm going to zip him with an arrow, but that'll be in memory of my grandpa. He was a good guy. I remember some guy, he was about the easiest going guy you ever want to meet. Now, he wasn't no pushover, believe me, but he was a man of integrity and honor, and he never got mad at nobody. He was a good person. I mean, there was nobody like him. So, you know, Grandpa got that bear. Didn't get the bear really, but the guy stole it from him. And, you know, from there was history. Killed that bear right in its tracks. That's for my grandpa. But yeah, he took me hunting and stuff. We went hunting, hunted rabbits together and squirrels. It was so cool to hunt all that stuff back in the day. This is going to be interesting. I might just have to take another bear. I think I'll take the bear. But yeah, Grandpa, he really loved hunting. Fishing too. He took us fishing, me and Dave, all the time. My other brother, he took us fishing. And we really got into fishing with Grandpa. He took us bass fishing to a pond. We must caught 20 bass that one year. It was super fun. We had a lot of fun fishing for bass in a farm pond. We caught several of them there. Then, you know, after that he got up there and I got up there in age, and what really boiled down to, Grandpa got up there around, you know, his 70s, and he was starting to, you know, not be as strong, but I helped him in the hay fields. He always grew great field corn. He was a farmer, you know, he could plant corn and grow corn like nobody's business. He was a super farmer, and that is a big buck. I'll take the bear out. Yeah. Let me get this bear back. Yeah, Grandpa, he was something. He was a good shot and everything. He helped me learn how to sight scopes in. He kind of got me into archery too, because I really loved archery. And he showed me how to shoot bow, but he didn't really know much about it. But he kind of helped me through it a little bit. He had a little understanding of it. And of course, you know, I got into the hunting with a bow, recurve, very young, about 13. I used to try to shoot chickens for Grandma. Grandma used to get a kick at me out there shooting my little recurve at them chickens with field tips. You know, and I got the bright idea that I could kill some chickens. We had like 50, 70 chickens on the farm. And my grandma and Grandpa got there and laugh at me when I'd be chasing them chickens with a bow like a little Indian. And when I think later she did kill some, catch them, shoot them. Grandpa might have shot them with a .22. And it was funny. Grandpa really got a kick out of that. She made me chicken dumplings and stuff. And she was a super good cook. Grandma was one of the best persons I ever know. She was kind-hearted, and she was like a mom to me. And I tell you, when she passed, she gave me my first Bible. I started going to Bible school. She gave me my Bible that my great-grandmother gave her for her wedding Christmas present. My grandma gave me that. It has all the family, all my family's people in it, her family's people and all that. And it was just terrific. What a legacy. She was awesome. If I wanted some comics or something, she would buy them for me. She'd go in her room, get them to me, and Grandpa would get on to her about it. She was just a wonderful person. She showed me how to make corn fritters, apple fritters. While the guys were out there, I'd come down off the school bus, and she'd say, "What do you want to make today, Mike?" And I said, "Well, I want to make something for Papa." And then they're up doing some lawn. They didn't want me around the log because they was, you know, you didn't want little kids around dangerous timber and stuff like that. And I tell you what, we did help Grandpa when we was like 6, 7 years old. We'd drive tractor and load hay on a wagon. We worked when we was little. We helped Grandpa with the hay until Grandpa got rid of the cattle and just before Grandma died. I think it was like 79. But they drilled oil well. Grandpa and them had plenty of land. I mean, they had probably like 500 acres at one time, different places. Grandpa and great-grandpa bought a bunch of property up along the area. And, they drilled gas wells. And I'm on one of the property that my Grandpa Bert and Grandpa bought back in the 40s, late after the war. They had plenty of money, and they had stocks and stuff, and Texaco, Texas Eastern, and all them kind of thing. And it was something, it was a different time back in them days. It wasn't, it was all business. But my grandpa loved to hunt and fish, trap. He got me into the hunting part of it because it was just fascinating to me to, go hunting, go trapping and tracking animals, and drawing them in and catching them by leg hold traps, catching foxes and skunks and whatever, it was super awesome to me. It was just something to do, and you can make some good money back then. Red fox, gray fox, about $50, and a red fox was about $80 back in them days. That was nothing. That was some serious cake, buddy, back in them days. Now you can't get nothing out of them. It's trapping and stuff has went downhill because you got a lot of eyes that think that a fox. I like to have $1 for every time I walked up to a fox buried in the snow or sleeping, that I caught sleeping. They say they're in pain. Actually, it gets numb. It's like putting something around someone's foot, Yeah, you can. There's idiots out there that use the wrong traps and they don't check, but there's good trappers out there too that, they're humane. They claim animals stay in traps for days. Nah, that's a myth. That's actually the biggest damn lie ever told by the antis. The trappers what founded our country, so the people that lie like that, they're the ones that don't know nothing. They're bleeding hearts, but yet they willing to kill babies in the womb, and it don't justify anything, you know what I mean? But you got them kind of hypocrites in this world. The world is full of hypocrites. That's a pretty bear. So I got 3 bears here. Yep, that's cool. And I got a deer laying up on the hill, if you remember right, up there. So I got a deer laying up there, and I shot another one up there, so yeah, it was awesome back in the day, hunting with my grandparents, my grandpa. That's a pretty bear, a normal bear, but I wiped all the bears out up in here, I think I did. That's a beautiful bear here, probably a blonde, or cinnamon. Yeah, it's a blonde, pretty bear. That arrow hit hard and true, right down through there. Yeah, we'll go up here and get our deer. I think there's a couple deer laying up here if you want to know the truth. But this is a good place right here on the map. I'll show you. Right over here, Mount Kraken. There by above the lake. Right there where the stand is and everything. It's a beautiful place to hunt. I think it's one of the most sparse places for game I've ever seen in a game. But yeah, back on Grandpa, if you can enjoy that, I can sit there and talk about that stuff forever about my grandpa. He was a truly wonderful person. He's well missed. He's been gone for years. But I'll be honest with you, he's the one that inspired me to hunt and be the person I am today. So it made a difference in my life, and I'm very thankful to had a good grandpa like him and a good father. My dad was a truly one-of-a-kind type of guy. We'll talk about him later. We're going to have a memorial. I'm going to have a memorial talk about him. But as my grandmother got up there, she got sick and she passed away in 81. Grandpa, of course, after they sold all the cattle and stuff, he really missed her. 9 months later, he died in his sleep. She suffered much, but just because you suffer don't mean you're right with God or anything. I mean, she gave me the first Bible, and she was she may not have, but they were good people. They were good, and I'm thankful that I had such wonderful family like Grandpa and Grandma. And my dad and my mother. But I'll talk about my dad, like I said, in another memorial 1B. and it'll be Robert E. Vance Memorial. Grandpa, you know, February 15, 1982, passed away. He was an inspiration to me, you know. He was a very smart, courageous man, kind, caring, and, you know, he was an honorable man. There ain't many people that's honorable today. They're goofballs. Minute they say, my grandfather had a word, when they said something back there, they didn't even need a handshake. Their word was gold. Today's people's words are shit. People talking, that's what my grandfather told me. When you talk about stuff, make sure you always keep your word. So be careful what you utter. You need to keep your word at all times. Because when you don't, you dishonor. Now people are so dishonorable, so despicable. And it's really pathetic how people can tell lies to one another, and it's disgusting. We live in a disgusting world today. There's the lost art of keeping your word is almost non-existent in there. And you know, I'm not putting everybody down, but that's just the plain fact of it. You know, I think that moose dropped. And it probably did. We'll go find out. That 300 cannon's a beauty of a gun in this game. Yeah. Me, I like the 30-30 Winchester. I got a 30-30 Winchester. I got a 12 gauge. I got a 45. I got a 22 Burkett model my grandpa had at night hunted with it. And I got a recurve, and I got a Matthews compound 1-cam bow. I really like it. It'll drill tacks. I got to have it adjusted before I take it hunting again. I got a crossbow. I got tree stands galore, ladder stands. I like the ladder stands. They're more efficient. They're safer, you know. But I don't really like the hang-on stands. I got a climber too, but you know, I don't really use it. But it's a fine thing, you know. I like it and all. I'm just, you know, I like it and everything, but I like the other part of it better. That's where that darn moose is. There he is. Dropped him right in his tracks. Like I said, that 300's a brute of a gun. So right there is where I shot that big moose, and it dropped it right in its tracks. She didn't even have a chance. Look, it went right through the femur and right lung, heart. Oh, no wonder it hit it right in the heart. No wonder it dropped him right in his tracks. Right in the heart. That was a beautiful shot. Nice shot. Didn't even go very far. So that's the way to rack up the points with that. When they're out of range, just shoot them with that 300. So yeah, indeed. Okay, she's going to run. Okay, that's all right. So yeah, Grandpa, he passed away there at nighttime in his sleep. What a way to go. Died in his sleep. Dad, on the other hand, suffered, but he outlived what the doctor said he would. He had rheumatic fever when he was about 16 years old, and it scarred his heart. Doctor said he'd be lucky to see 40. I remember when I was in school, and I was so scared I was going to lose my daddy, and I prayed, Lord, please preserve my daddy. And you know what? God did. God preserved my dad. And he kept my dad alive to confound those. I say, you know, God will confound the mighty and bless those, you know, when we least expect it. Look, that moose didn't go very far. Boy, that 300's some kind of gun. I wish Dad could have seen this game. Dad got sick a few years, but we'll talk, like I said, we'll talk in full detail about my dad later on in another memorial. But Grandpa's what this is about. Glenn George Vance was his name. His great-grandparents, George Washington Vance and Margaret Schuler Vance, were, I think he lived like in 1915, and she died in like 1901. Grandma, great-grandma. And now, right now, there's 2 deer out here in my yard, right below my house, about 30 yards, little fawn. Looks like a little button buck and a doe. Right here below my house, I'm not kidding you, 30 yards. And they eat this grass that's been mowed, and they're like, they ain't going over to my feeder. I need to fill my feeder up. But I ain't kidding you, that's something to watch these deer. I can sit out there too and they walk around. The mosquitoes are so bad where it's been raining here all year. We've had a very wet year. So, you know, that all adds up, of course. Yeah. So, it's something, you know, to watch. But Grandpa, he was like one of the kids. He'd take me trapping. He started us all bank accounts for Christmas. He'd put $100 in every year, and it growed and growed for years. He started that in about the 70s. Started putting all us boys $100 in, and Grandpa would take mine and put more in, because when I trapped with him, he put a little extra in, because I never wanted his money. He always put it in the bank for me, and he'd always add extra to it, because I was his trapping buddy. And my grandparents, they really took to me, you know, because I really went down and visited them all the time. I love my grandparents. They were my world, man. When I lost them, it was like, man, it was a terrible loss to me in my world, because, you know, I was very young, 16, and it really led to a lot of my downfalls, my faults and stuff. I kind of got into partying and stuff, but I got out of that as I got older. I kind of got out of that. Thank God. A lot of kids don't. But the drugs today are more dangerous, and it ain't like marijuana or beer. Now they got this meth and crack, and it can hook you for life. It ain't no picnic, the stuff they got today. Well, I never noticed that before. Like this little place over here. What is this? Well, I never noticed this before. Ever. Well. Wow. Oh, look at this. I never noticed this little place before, ever. That is so cool. Like a little camp. That's right here, man. That's right there, camp. Well, there ain't no antler or nothing around, but I never seen this camp before. This is one of them areas that I never really found. And look, here it is. So it's like a little lean-to camp, an old camp. Of course, you know, that's kind of amazing here. That's pretty wild, man. Yep. Grandpa took me squirrel hunting and all that in the 70s. We went rabbit hunting, grouse hunting. We went grouse hunting, and it was just a blast. We always had a good time. Grandpa liked to have fun. He always helped us save money and taught us stuff. He really was different to us, though, than he was to his own sons. He was a little strict on them. But to us, we were a little different. Dad even said that he was wholly different to us. We were, you know, Grandpa even told me at the funeral one time that me and my brothers, we were Grandma and Grandpa's world when Grandma died. Grandpa said it was the greatest joy to have us boys in his life, but my uncle wasn't so great of a joy because he dishonored my grandparents. He wasn't a right person. If he's in heaven, I'd be surprised. He was so dishonorable and hateful to his own mother, and he even urinated on her grave for no reason because he wanted to go fuck his relation. That's sick. Sick bastard. Sick and depraved. So he hated my grandmother for calling him out on and ending a relationship. And, you know, that's good. That's a good thing. You know, there wasn't nothing wrong with that. It should have been ended. So my grandma ended it, and he hated her. He was very young, 15, 16 years old, and maybe 17. Gene hated her for calling him out and stopping the relationship. Because he wanted to fuck his own cousin, I guess. Stupid son of a bitch. He was an idiot all his life. He was just full of evil and twisted. I don't want to really talk about him because I don't want to hurt the memory of my grandfather. My grandfather was good. My grandparents were awesome people, and to have a son like that, everybody's got one of them outcasts in their family that it's hard to live with. You know what I mean? Makes it real hard to live with some of them creeps. But he wasn't a very good person. Gene wasn't. Sadly, he wasn't much. But now my grandparents were great. My dad was a good man. It's a good place to put a stand right there. Wind's always blowing up the hill there. So if you wait here long enough, you'll get game. But my grandparents were good people. Thankful for them. Oh yeah, they were super awesome people. Yep, I'll never forget them. I never forget them at all. Nope, no way. Yeah, my grandparents were wonderful. Grandpa was super cool. Yeah, everybody liked him. I don't think there was one person that didn't like him. Kind of like Daddy. Everybody liked my dad too. But we'll talk about him next time we do a memorial here. Yeah, I just wanted to put this on there, of course, to show respect to my grandfather. He's been gone since '82. And there ain't a day that don't go by that I don't miss him. He only lived to 75 years of age. But Dad outlived him 4 years. Dad lived to 79, even with his poor health. The Lord likes to astonish those who don't think. Everybody called my dad out to die several years earlier, and God likes to smite those and put a hamper on those who think they know more than God. I find that very, very, very funny. You know, that people always try to call other people out and say, you ain't gonna live long, and mistreat people. But my dad was an honest person, a good person, good-hearted. My dad was something. My dad and grandfather, they were something extraordinary. I have a lot of respect, and I'm thankful for God to having such wonderful grandparents and a wonderful dad and mom. My mom's been through so much, but she's hanging in there. She's got cancer. She's fighting. We kind of thought she would actually go before Daddy would, but she's still kicking in there. And I hope she continues hanging in there, but I know it's just a matter of time, because she's nothing but a rack of bone, but she's fighting. She's an amazing woman. She keeps hanging in there because, you know, she's always had a good heart. But, you know, we all gotta die. We're all heading down that road. My dad was also, my grandfather, he was a lifetime member of the National Rifleman Association. You know, he was a lifetime member of the National Rifleman Association. He never belonged to the National Trappers Association or nothing like that. My dad did. But he was a, stock guy. He loved all the stock market and all that stuff. Grandpa was into all that stocks and bonds and, so. That thing ain't going very far, is it? He's up on the hill. Yeah, Grandpa, he was into a lot of stocks and bonds, and I remember watching. He used to get the Wall Street Journal, and he used to love TV. I remember him back in the 70s watching. I got him watching Star Trek, and he was cool about one. He loved Wonder Woman, and he loved that Linda Carter, Wonder Woman, and Incredible Hulk, and he just liked that kind of stuff. He liked anything, and baseball. He loved baseball a lot. I remember he used to love to watch the Cincinnati Reds. Every weekend we'd be watching the Cincinnati Reds play whatever when the Big Red Machine was something. And, you know, he never really cared about football, but he loved tennis. He loved to watch Bjorn Borg and McEnroe matches back in the day. Yeah, 79, 80. Then, of course, we lost Grandma, you know. And like I say, then later on, we lost Grandpa, you know. It was truly sad when we lost Grandpa because he was the last of us, you know, so, you know. They were wonderful. They inspired me. My daddy inspired me. I just lost my dad here August 18th, and here we are September 3rd. And I decided, you know, I want to make a memorial to my grandfather and my grandma. So I guess you could call this the Cora Atkins and Glenn George Vance Memorial. 1B will be about Robert E. Vance. So that's my father, who passed away just here, and we'll talk a little bit about Mom too. Married her, his life. My dad's life is a lot bigger than my grandfather. My grandfather, he never wrote books or nothing, but my dad wrote author on antique traps and antique glass mini jugs. He wrote trapping secrets, and he wrote a lot of things about antique mouse traps, and he had a he was very good on putting things together. He wrote major articles and stuff, and wasn't like Grandpa. You know, Grandpa, he didn't write books or nothing, but he was very smart. I hear something coming. Boy, he's mad. Oh, there, he's down there. Look, he fell. He's down. Bear down. So anyhow, here's another bear. Yep. I mean, Grandpa would have never believed video game. I remember at one time Grandpa came up. I gotta tell this. That's when that duck hunt came out. And Grandpa, we'd sit there and shoot that duck, them damn ducks, you know what I mean? And them damn ducks would fly up, and Grandpa, sometimes the dog would jump up, and he shot the dog a couple times. I said, Grandpa, you ain't supposed to shoot the duck. He goes, well, damn them dogs. What the hell's that dog doing jumping up in front of me like that and getting shot? But he was good. Then after a while, he got the hang of it, and he done really good with it. So that was kind of cool, you know what I mean? He got the hang of it after a while, and it was really wonderful to watch. Grandpa duck hunt. I remember him used to play. He used to come out and play ball with me and Dad, and my three brothers. We would actually get into that. You know, he would come up and play wiffle ball with us, and I would strike him out and stuff, and he'd try to strike me, and I'd knock the ball out in the road. He'd go, you little skunk, you little stinker, you little turkey, you. And Grandpa, I tell you what he sounded like. He sounded exactly like John Wayne. To hear John Wayne's voice, my grandfather, they were pretty close to the same voice. You know, Grandpa he was something. He smoked them old Cools, menthols, you know, so they probably didn't help him live long. They both had high cholesterol, my dad, but Dad started treating himself and Grandpa never did, and of course he lost his life. But he was a good man. Grandpa was I seen him mad when my own uncle came drunk to his own mother's funeral, and who wouldn't be mad about that? I never seen my grandfather mad at nobody until I seen him mad at my uncle for that debacle, and you know, kind of pathetic. And another moose dead. So we'll see if I got that one. Anywho, Yep, let's get down and check that out. Let's get our bear, our bar. So there he is. So I probably got these two moose. I don't know if I got that one or not. I really don't know. That was a bad shot on him. I don't really know about this moose down here. It'd be a miracle if I got this big bull moose, because he was moving on down the road. So it'd be a miracle if I hit that moose. Yeah, I don't think I hit anything here. Yeah, I don't think I hit him. I don't think I hit him too good. Yeah. I don't think it amounts to anything, but we'll track him for the fun of it for a while. Just see what happens. It probably wasn't that great of a hit. If it had been a bow, it had been a really good hit. Yeah, Grandpa was one of a kind. Grandpa Glenn Vance. But he left 4 sons. He left son Glenn, and Gene died. Gene died probably a few years later, so he didn't last very long. My uncle, he died at 47 years old. He died in '86. He was drunk and he crashed right into off the road and died at 47 years old, man. So he didn't live very long at all. He had a short life. The guy didn't live very long. He was pretty twisted, unfortunately, but we're not here to talk about him. I'm here to talk about my grandfather, who was a greater man than him. Very good guy. I'm so thankful to have him as a grandparent. The kids today don't even care about their parents, grandparents, or let alone their parents after they get older. They don't even care about them. Kids today have no love for nothing but their self. And I think it's actually, family has become destroyed. That's why kids are getting on drugs and stuff, because they have no purpose. Your purpose is to honor and take care of your family. Your family is everything to you. So why do kids act like they do? Lack of respect. Kids today don't care about nobody. They act like they care, but they do not care. If they cared, they would show it in their actions, not by just uttering the words they care, but they should show that they care. Actions prove louder than words. And for people that think that they do and they don't, shame on you. Shame on you. You need help. You need physical, mental help. You need to grow a heart, because you have none. A person that don't like their own family, something's terribly wrong with them. Sure, there's some bad families out there too, and I know all about that. But you should try to get along with them. If there's a problem, it might be you. I know people don't like to hear that too, but it's just the facts of life. If something's wrong, it ain't always their fault. It could be yours. So you want to examine yourself and not everybody else. But I'm glad I had a great grandparents. And I remember his memory. No one can say nothing about him, because if you didn't know him, you can't say nothing about him. But I'm here to share a lot about him. And he cared about his family. And so there's this darn camp again. Coming right back to the same camp that I was in. There ain't nothing here. Nothing but tracks. Moose been in there. Then I heard a moose that walked through here. It looked to me like maybe 4 moose walked in here. Every bit of it. Yeah, and they took a dump. They took a crap right here where a person would sit. But it's very fresh. So. Hey, he's going that way, so I must have missed him somewhere. Yeah. So I guess I'll end the stream there. 47-minute stream. I didn't even cover an iota of information about the late Glenn G. Vance. But thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the hunts, if nothing else. And I just wanted to put this out there, this memorial for my grandpa, my grandma, Cora. Because that's what I want to do. I wanted to put some kind of memorial out there, that their memory. This was in honor of their memory. They were great people. And I thank you for watching this video. And if you've seen something on there that you liked, or if you want to see something you want to see, don't hesitate to shoot me a message or whatever there on YouTube or whatever, or email me, and I'll be sure to try to get it on there for you so you can see how to do it. I've completed all the missions here on this, but not all the side missions, but I completed all the missions. They're pretty easy. But next time, I think when I do Dad's, I think I'll be hunting in the Alaskan area. I really like the Alaskan map, the new maps. So there's some new things coming here too, to the Hunter Call the Wild. I've seen that, so I haven't seen much about that yet. But as I see it, I'll talk about it. They did have a pretty good update here a while back, and it seemed to fix quite a few things. They had a population reset. It seems to be working pretty good. It may take a couple restarts to get the game program for you and get it optimized, but it seems to be working pretty good to me. It, don't seem to have very many. The frame rate seems so much better. It don't seem to have no drop off. Multiplayer. The only thing in multiplayer, it seems that I have trouble putting tree stands up. That's the only thing I've noticed so far. But other than that, it's been playing really well. Because look, my guy's running top speed down through here. Used to be frame rate drop while streaming, but now they kind of fix that all up. And the population reset probably helped too. So therefore, next time I think I'll start in my or go to my start in my diamond moose in the trophy lodge, my diamond moose rack, and my lines and all that stuff. So I think that's where I'll start next time, when I start my dad's memorial for the Hunter Call the Wild. But thank you very kindly for watching. God bless each one of you, and I hope the best for each one of you. Please be kind to your grandparents, your parents. Tell them you love them while they're here. I used to tell my grandpa I loved him, my grandma all the time, and I'm thankful that I did. Because if you go in life, you'll have regrets. You don't want no regrets. So when you tell them you love them and mean it, they love you. It's nice to give care and love to the people who love you. And let them know that you love them by proving it. But not only saying it, but prove it. Honor them and take care of them and help them when they need you. Go mow your grandparents' grass. Go help them when they need it. Ask them if they can do anything. You can do anything for them. Don't just sit idly by and let them do stuff. Because, go mow their grass, help them in the garden. Go do stuff with them. Spend time with your loved ones. Because one day it'll be too late. And then you'll have regrets that, I wish I'd done this and I wish I'd done that. That way you can always say, I got them in my heart and I done a lot with them. And I'm glad I got to do all I did with them. It makes the pain a little less. Then you have good memories of your family, your family members that are gone. And, that's why I dedicate this memorial to Glenn George Vance, Cora Atkins Vance, my grandparents. They were awesome. They were awesome grandparents. I'll never forget them as long as I live. They remembered, never forgotten. Thank you kindly for watching. God bless.